Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. And oh my days, am I excited to talk to you guys today about this subject. We're gonna be talking about the SEZ fee Ripple, but it is a little layer deeper. We're going to be talking about what is happening to the XRP price and how we could have most likely anticipated this, expected this, and take some profit on this. So today, I'm going to tell you guys about that. It's not to brag that we were right, even though we were. This is just to show you guys how you can hopefully capitalize on moves like this in the future and get yourself more money in crypto. Because ultimately, I have no benefit in trying to brag. That's not my point here at all. I'm just trying to hopefully make you guys a little bit more aware of the opportunities that are out in crypto. And remember guys, we are the first 1% that is actually adopted into crypto. You are ridiculously early. So getting all these opportunities now, you can miss out on a ton of them and still be fine. Having said that, comment down below if you've ever been a victim of FOMO. FOMO is fear of missing out, and it's usually where you just really were too afraid that you were gonna miss a huge price rush. So you buy in like crazy. Very often it's at one of the most highest points of a given asset. But let me know if you ever had anything like this before in your life down below in the comment section. I surely have. Having said that, the documents came out a little bit earlier today of the government case, which is basically SEZ Ripple. It is a it's actually a 9-pager. I read it through. I understand it partially since I'm not a lawyer, and there's definitely a couple of guys who can explain it better, which again is not me, but I did kind of make my own opinion about this, and with the help of some articles to make things more clear, I do think I have a pretty good story for you guys around that, but more so here about intuition and about really making freaking money that I want to tell you guys about here, because something happened here which I think most of you guys watching the channel actually saw coming. Let's start with a little bit of basic back knowledge. Ripple got sued, I believe it was the 22nd of December. Like right around this time, price prior was about 57 cents, but if we take the average, we would say it's about 52 to 53 cents. Again, the average of about this 11, so basically end November to about beginning December price, right? That's basically the average of this month. It is right around the 50, let's say 56 cent mark, 55. It doesn't really matter. We then fell back down from about 57 cents or so to right around 17. And right around when we got this positive document from Ripple, the price went up again. This was unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, also together with the big XRP pump and dump. But another important part here is that it was really supported at 17 cents. People really, regardless of what was happening, wanted to buy it at 17, which shows something. And at that point, once that happened, we predicted two things. We predicted that there would most likely be a pump the day that a new document from Ripple would come out. So it would be pretty beneficial to buy in right now, because if you can buy in before such a pump, which will most likely happen between now and February 15th, as they have to give the document. We thought it would be February 15th exactly, but it wasn't. It was earlier than that, which was right around this day, I believe. So that's again when the pump came in. Yeah, if you could buy in prior, it would most likely be profitable, and it turned out that it definitely was. So that was a good bet. The second part we kind of bet upon was that the day that one of these things materializes, which would have either been the 15th or the 22nd, the price would most likely dump. And what we also noticed is that on the day that we got the document from Ripple, so the first kind of draft of what they were going to say, basically the part one of this two-parter, I guess. Yeah, the day that came out, I also told you guys, there's a good chance we're going to pump right now, and we kind of capitalize on that pump. I think most of you guys watching the channel knew that right here I was saying we can make a lot of money, and hopefully a lot of you guys did. Some have bought in high, and I even told you guys, I don't think you have to sell, because I do think we will recover from this, and we actually recovered quite significantly here. But hear me out. We said at this point, we will most likely continue on with the gains to about February 15th or February 22nd, either of those, and most likely dump on that day. I even, however, before said we would most likely dump on February 1st, as it's logical. When people all expect one thing to happen, they sell on that day because they all buy in anticipation. And that's exactly what's happening right now. I believe the 13th, 14th, something like that, somewhere around that time, people started to sell again because they knew tomorrow is going to be the day where things materialize. I don't want to really be part of that because there's nothing really big happening. We are buying because of an idea, but the real fundamentals behind that idea, they're not really there. However, since we fell back down about 10% or so since that time, I do think right now we can actually climb back up because the 22nd will even be a more profitable or bigger date. However, some of the documents which came out right now, for example right here, XRP update, Ripple Labs and SEC joint letter rules out possibility of a settlement before trial commence. Yeah, articles like that with titles like that, they don't really get people excited. So I am really debating whether or not the 22nd is now going to be so profitable, meaning that we will continue on with gains between now and next week. In a different sense though, there's a higher chance that we will rather than going down if Bitcoin and Ethereum basically move like they have. On a different sense, the second part of the conclusion here has to do with Ethereum and Bitcoin, where Bitcoin hit 50,000 something right now. And if you remember from 40,000, once it hits it and fell back down drastically, it could actually be the end of a little bullish sweep basically for a little while, for a couple of days, for a couple of weeks. That could happen. We could also start to correct right now because we hit the highest point and people wanted to sell at 50,000 psychologically. That could definitely be the case as well. So I am prepared for a fall down in crypto, and I am prepared for altcoins to actually fall a huge amount now as well, purely because Bitcoin hit that psychological barrier. And usually altcoins fall quicker than Bitcoin does. So it's logical that XRP fell back down today as well, regardless of what's really happening in XRP itself. Now moving on, all right? So if Bitcoin falls around and goes to the ground, XRP will fall too. Moving on, this whole article here actually doesn't really have anything ridiculously amazing inside of it. I've just read it now, and I can't really tell you guys exactly what you need to know. I cannot really say if there's anything that drastic, which I would like to teach you or tell you guys about, because I literally do not know, all right? I literally have nothing to tell you. So if you want to, just go and read it yourself. It is definitely going to be worth it. It's basically just a summary of what both sides want. It's basically their side saying, yeah, we allege Ripple to do this. This is what we want to get to. And of course, we all know Ripple's side as well, which is, well, we didn't do that. So we're defending ourselves from it. The joint letter was presented to a federal judge, Analicia Torres, of the U.S. District Court of Southern District of New York, which read, "Counsel for the parties has met and conferred and, having previously discussed settlement, do not believe there is a prospect for settlement at this time. However, the parties will promptly notify the court if any settlement in principle is reached as to any defendant," which basically means they aren't settling right now. If anybody was hoping that, they aren't. I don't think too many people were expecting it, but all right. And we'll just go through a pretty long process. I mean, the 22nd is still the shortest date we could, but even then, they won't come out of anything. It'll just be the start of it all. And yeah, I'm not saying it's going to take another couple of years, but it could definitely take a couple more months, so we should be prepared for that. If you are thinking that you should sell XRP right now, though, because the price is going to dump, I think you'd be in the wrong. In a different sense, though, I cannot really fully disagree with you, as we are basically having the whole lawsuit pain a little bit all over. Even though this is not negative news, it is just a confirmation that this lawsuit will most likely not be resolved quickly, and thus will ask from you a little bit of holding power, a little bit of faith, basically. Now, I've said on Twitter, and even on the channel here, I don't think Ripple or XRP needs the SEC's finger in the air. What is it called now? Thumbs up. I forgot what it's called in English. Thumbs up. I do think it would help a lot. And I do think that a lot of people are kind of waiting for it purely because then XRP would be the first to do it. XRP would be the first to get that real proper clarity. That's not Bitcoin or Ethereum. So basically the first real altcoin to get it done. And the first real altcoin with a proper trial, with a proper allegation, and then beating it, basically. Showcasing that any crypto, basically, could get this fixed. Here's another one, kind of confirming the same thing. SEC v. Ripple settlement at this point unlikely, as pre-trial conference set for February 22nd. I just think most people are convinced that the next week or so will most likely not do too much, and it will just be a month-long process. And some people will sell because they don't have a quick rise, and there's not really anything quick right here which can get their money up. I'm gonna say that every point along this way, where Ripple is still here, Ripple is still standing, and Ripple is still tweeting out bullish stuff or new partnerships, which they're doing every couple of weeks. Even, again, my prediction right now, even after Q1, which is the end of March, they will come out with this document maybe somewhere in April. If they come out with that document of Q1 of 2020, you will notice some astonishing numbers of what Ripple is really doing. things like that will actually keep increasing the XRP price, I think, because it just shows people, regardless of what the SEC is doing, Ripple will stand tall and XRP will succeed, XRP will thrive. A little bit later in the video, I'll talk more about Flare and what my thoughts are to connect the dots between this whole lawsuit and Flare. But for right now, Flare, screw that, all right? Let's think about these two things completely separately, and let's just focus on what XRP is doing. We saw XRPL post that they're really working a lot more on the NFT side of XRP Ledger and the token side, and they're kind of replacing the IOU idea with literal tokens. That's all good, but that's on top of XRP. If XRP is not really allowed anymore or being a security, what is going to happen to all of that? I still do not yet know, because I personally think the SEC can never decide that XRP as of this point is actually a security. My worst case scenario is that they're going to be calling it a prior security that's really fixed themselves now, with Brett Garlinghouse really admitting that he sold a lot of stuff which he shouldn't have had done, and something along those lines. That's like worst case in my opinion. If that really materializes, they have a fine, they have maybe some bad something to their name, but in the end, it won't really do too much for XRP because nobody really cares about that. It's about the future, it's about what it can get to, and we all know where they're getting. Ripple has admitted and keeps on updating us with the partners that they are getting. It's still a couple of guys a week, even though they are being sued right now. They're still continue to get partners. Don't you also think that a lot of partners would have cut their ties with Ripple for this lawsuit? No, they wouldn't. Of course they wouldn't, because in a lot of their agreements, it is agreed upon that Ripple might cut the ties, Ripple might yada yada yada, if XRP were to be deemed a security. Because why? Well, Ripple knew that this allegation would come one point or another. And now our question is, did Ripple want it to happen this way, or are they shocked that it happened this way? I'm not quite sure, because every kind of bit of information points that Ripple really likes what's happening right now, that it's in their benefit, as they're just really looking to win. All right, but in a different sense, they also sometimes feel like they would have more so liked it to not be a lawsuit, but just a civil matter, where it's like you just talk with each other and you get to some proper regulations for the future, and the SEC didn't really have to sue for it. But then I found out by reading a little bit into the US and their documents that the SEC, to get things done, actually almost always have to sue for it, because they as a body cannot actually decide anything. But again, that's just my small knowledge as to how crypto really work, or sorry guys, how the legal bodies actually work in the US. I'm not an expert on that at all. And I still think a lot of people are just getting into XRP because they fear of missing out on the rush. Don't think about it that way, all right? I personally would say think about XRP in the literal sense that it deserves. It is a really well-built crypto, a really well-built platform even to the core, that has a lot of potential in the real world because of its utility. If the US doesn't want to, accept that or work with that, okay, so be it. Then skip the US. Let's take them out of the equation, because the rest of the world will appreciate. Japan has already shown their support. So if the US really wants to be so difficult and not accept it, then we should just accept that they probably have some different plan where it has their own government as the central body for all these next cross-border remittances, or some lobbyist has more power in there that he can really get this ruled out, that XRP has to be deemed a non-security, basically. I'm just thinking, if they're doing what's right, they're going to be calling this out like the way it is, like it should, and real people that have been with XRP for a little while, it's not just bots that buy and sell crypto really quickly. I'm talking real people. Should have thought about XRP in this sense that this lawsuit could have happened years ago. It right now only materialized, and thus it's not something more negative or something like that. When XRP hit $4 or $3.50, depending on the exchange, it wasn't really better. It definitely wasn't really better, because this whole lawsuit ordeal was still placed on top of their heads. So people saying that right now things have gotten worse, is that really true? Was it really better when there was no clarity and they got some lawsuits against him? The only difference is back then, it wasn't Ripple fighting for it. Back then, Ripple didn't have as much utility. Back then, it was just some lawsuits from some miscellaneous guys. But this lawsuit from the SEC, first of all, shows recognition. Second of all, shows there will be a solution eventually. And third of all, to me, shows it is basically a bet on that Ripple win this case, because if they do, the price will probably go crazy. Not financial advice, though. Also, check out GSX. A link is down below. I personally have a couple $1,000s in this, and I'm hoping it's going to go big. Right now, it's 10 cents a coin, plus a 14% bonus, plus a 5% bonus for using my link. So go check it out. The link is down below. I'm hoping that this thing can go times 20, 25, 40, who knows, just something crazy. And that's the reason I'm showcasing it. Just because I think it's the first gold-backed coin, the first gold-secured currency growth coin All sounds really interesting, and I'm hoping it is also going to be really interesting. We'll see though. Thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys again in another one.